Hello people, this is Sonali, the Melodramatic Bookworm. If you've been here before, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to the Melodramatic Bookworm family. I'm here today with my October 2021 wrap-up. Yes, it's towards the end of November and I'm only just getting to wrapping up, doing my October wrap-up. What I did was I asked you if you wanted a public live stream in which I talk about my October reads, or would you like me to do a normal wrap-up that I usually do, that I film, edit and upload. So you said film, edit and upload, so here I am. I read 12 books in October, which I'm pretty proud of because of how the month went. Yes, some of them were short reads, but they were equally impactful. So that just means that you can't judge a book by its size. Judging a book by its cover is a whole different matter altogether. But yes, in today's video, I will be talking about all the books that I finished reading in October 2021. There are 12 books. So without any further ado, let's dive right into this video and let me share with you all the books that I read in October 2021. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I was supposed to co-host the Scary Cat Readathon with Smriti from Sant Reads, and I don't think either of our readathons went as they were supposed to go. But then again, it's okay. We are scaredy cats. We'll get there slowly, okay? Okay, now on to the video again. The first book that I finished reading in October 2021, I started and finished reading, is Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, and I really enjoyed this. This is a story of Alex, who is the first son of the first female president of the United States, and Henry, who is a prince of the British royal family, and how they fall head over heels in love with each other. This is their story. It is very funny. It's witty, it's charming, it's sweet. Like, both the characters are so... Sometimes you just want to shake them, but most of the times you just want to give them a big hug. And the responsibilities that come with being such huge personalities in the world and belonging to such families, that they have to keep track of their every step. And to what extent do they go to doing certain things forms the entire story, and I absolutely loved it. I love Casey McQuiston's writing. It's easy to read and it just flows, and it's funny, it makes you laugh and it makes you go oh, and a lot more other things that I enjoyed to no end. So yeah, I gave Red, White and Royal Blue 4.5 out of 5 stars. The second book that I read in October 2021 was Frank Carter, The Complete Saga by Yashesh Rathod. I've done a written review of this book on my blog. If you'd like to go check that out, I'll leave the link in the description box below. This is the story of Frank Carter, whose family comes to live in the Yellow Lotus region, which is supposed to be really cursed. And now that they're there, they now find out the extent to how this region is cursed, and what all happens to their family because of this particular curse, and he has to go back and forth in time in order to make sure that this curse does not further affect his family. I liked the concept, but the execution was not done well. It could have been so much better with a lot of editing and proofreading. It becomes a little repetitive and it becomes a little too detailed. Every single step of what the person is doing is not needed. And yeah, there are quite a few pluses as well. The plot is very interesting. I like how the concepts of the supernatural with fantasy and time travel and everything, it's combined well. Only I just wish that the execution was a little better. I gave Frank Carter, The Complete Saga 2 stars out of 5. Next, I finished reading a thriller that I was so excited to read, and that had been on my TBR for like 4 years. Daddy's Gone Hunting by Mary Higgins Clark. This is a story of Hannah, whose family business is suddenly, affected by an explosion. The whole offices and the factory is leveled by an explosion. Her sister is found at the site, and now she is in a coma, and she's probably the only one who can tell what has happened. And now it's up to Hannah to find out who is behind all of this, what are the reasons behind all of this. And like, it seemed a very interesting plot line, but the execution again was a little meh. Like, the language wasn't that great. Every chapter has new characters. Even towards the very end, new characters are coming in and coming in and coming in. I lost count of them, and they get repetitive because you are reading the same account from a different perspective. It's okay, but if the different perspective is also bringing the same details as before, then it doesn't make sense. It just becomes annoying. And because of this, the big reveal that happened towards the end, the climax of this story, it sort of lost its appeal. It's a pretty good reveal. I really liked how it is, but when this happens, it takes away from the immensity of that reveal, and for me personally, that wasn't okay, and I did not like this as much. I ended up being frustrated by it, and this is one in a long list of thrillers that has been disappointing me this year. So I give this book 2 stars out of 5. The next book that I read in October 2021 was a book that I have done a full vlog for, and I've talked about it in detail, so I won't go much into detail over here. And that book is Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. And I was really skeptical about picking this book up because I did not like All the Light We Cannot See as much as many people did. This time I switched up the format in order to try and make better sense of whether or not I will like the book, and I ended up liking it. Cloud Cuckoo Land is set across 3 timelines, one in ancient Greece, the second in present day, and the third in the future, all looking for certain texts which will help them understand something. And through all of this, you are tied to the thread of humanity and how humanity is scrabbling to retain itself and to retain power across the world. It's a little weird, like what the things that I can recollect about the book right now in hindsight are probably not things that I thought of at that time. Yeah, this was good. That last reveal was really good. Like, this is not a thriller or anything, but it feels like one because of the truth punch that it lands on your gut. Like, you will not be expecting it, and that is the beauty of this book, that it holds so much weight and it holds so much truth in the number of topics that it talks about without talking about them. I listened to this as an audiobook on Storytel, and Storytel is offering a huge discount for all of you, and the link to that, if you'd like to avail this discount, then the link to that will be in the description box below. Go check it out, as well as the link to that vlog will also be in the description box below. Also go check that out. And yeah, I gave Cloud Cuckoo Land 4.25 out of 5 stars. Next up is another book for which I have done a full video review of. The book is called The Influencer, Speed Must Have a Limit by Abhay Dev, and if you'd like to go check that video out, in which I've spoken about this book and the plot line and what I liked and didn't like in detail, then I'll leave the link here as well as in the description box below. The Influencer is a story of Aditya Gupta, who is an influencer in the literal sense of the word. He can influence the willpower of people around him, and he is one of the few in the world who can. There are more like him with different levels of powers of influencer, but this guy is one of the most powerful of them all. So he works with the Prime Minister's office to help the Prime Minister run the country, and he works for the World Influencer Society, which is WIS, and their basic and foremost rule is that nobody should know about them and influencers other than the influencers themselves. But one day, Aditya has done something which his wife discovers, and she realizes that his job as a prime minister's secretary is just a front, and he's been working as something else. So now WIS realizes that his wife knows, and now they're on his case. They want to eliminate him in order to keep their own sanctity and of sorts, but now Aditya has to save himself and his family. What will he do, and will he escape the clutches of the WIS, forms the entire story. I really like the concept. I know in some cases it can seem really creepy, but I did like the concept of an influencer and how certain humans have that power, have that charm to make the others listen to them, bend to their will. There were also a couple of problems that I had, but being that even though it's a fast-paced book, which is a huge positive, and the language is easy to read, also positive, but it sometimes the moralizing becomes a little too much, and there are parts in which the writing becomes really inconsistent. It's good in some places, it's very good in some places, and then it turns around and goes back to being pretty basic. So other than that, I would say that this is a quick one-time read that you can go through, and it ends on a superb cliffhanger, so I'm really looking forward to reading the second book as well. I gave The Influencer Speed Must Have a Limit by Abhay Dev 3.5 out of 5 stars. The next book I finished in October is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill, and this is the story of a little girl who the witch in the woods takes in, and instead of feeding her with starlight, feeds her with moonlight, which is even more potent and even stronger. She does this with all the children, all the babies that the people of the protectorate, under the guide and guidance and under the influence of their elders, leave as a sort of sacrifice at the edge of the forest. So Luna is named thus because she was fed with moonlight, and now the witch can't seem to let go of her, and so she raises Luna on her own, and now Luna's powers are getting out of hand. So the witch does something which will make all of Luna's powers become dormant until she comes to a certain age. But now that deadline is threatening, and there's a lot of secrets that are being held, be it by the witch or what is happening in the protectorate, and a lot of people are trying to discover what exactly is happening in their lives and trying to discover what exactly this whole secret is about. And that I felt like I spoke in circles over there, but yes, this is a fun read. This is a fun fantasy read. I did enjoy reading it, but I somehow felt that it was so long-winded that I somehow lost track of the plot, and it becomes a little boring at times because of how much time it takes to get to the point. It could have been like 50 to 70 pages shorter, and that would have made it even more crisper. But otherwise, the concept of star children, the concept of a witch who is saving these children, it's intriguing as hell, and I enjoyed it, but not as much as I wanted to enjoy it. Yeah, I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars because of these very reasons. Next up is Displacement by Kiku Hughes, and this is a story of a girl who keeps getting transported back in time, sometimes for short bursts, sometimes for longer bursts, and towards the end she's gone for what feels like ages. She keeps going back to her grandmother. She keeps following her grandmother through this lens of time, and during that time when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor and the American government cracked down on Japanese immigrants and put them in internment camps because of what the Japanese government did and how it affected people, the Japanese people, first generation, second generation, third generation Japanese people who wanted to settle down there, and how all of this affected them, and all the xenophobia that came out through what felt like very innocent statements and innocent questions. It forms this entire story, and I learned so much from this book, because despite how much you know about all of this, it still feels like you don't know enough because there's so much history over there. And yeah, I really liked educating myself about it, and it also helps that I read another account which I will talk in a little while. But this is a great book. It's very informative, very educational, and it just breaks my heart. I gave Displacement a full 5 out of 5 stars. And then I read a few books for the 48-hour readathon that I had done for myself. The first book that I read for that 48-hour readathon was How I Broke Up with My Colon by Nick Seluk, who is also known as the Awkward Yeti on Instagram, social media, everywhere. And I am a huge fan of the Awkward Yeti comics because Nick Seluk, he knows how to bring out the truths of what humans go through by making one's organs talk. It seems very creepy when I say that, but he does that. Go check out some of his comics. And I went into this book with the same expectations, but this is more of a real life medical stories, the weirdest medical stories you can find, and I enjoyed it. But at one point I also started feeling bored for some reason, and it was not because they were bad. They are real human stories. It just felt like they didn't have that snap that Nick Seluc's The Awkward Yetis comics usually have. I gave this book 4 stars out of 5, and you will see the bar that I have set for the Awkward Yetis comics and form of storytelling. That a book that I was disappointed a little by, I'm giving 4 stars, so you can see. Next up is another book that I listened to on Storytel, and this was Pride by Ibi Zoboi. And this is a Pride and Prejudice retelling in which Zuri and her 4 sisters are living in a house in Brooklyn, I think. The Darcy brothers move in across from them, and how this whole thing pans out, how their interactions turn up, and how their lives change after this, how they gradually progress. This forms the entire story, and it's Pride and Prejudice but with people of color, and I feel like that makes it a little a bit better, because there are so many things that you see or you listen to in the story that are a little typical, but you want to listen to them in a different manner, and Elizabeth Acevedo's narration gives it that. You know how big of a fan I am of Elizabeth Acevedo, but this somehow did not cut it for me as much as her other narrations did. The reason why I jumped at this audiobook was because it was Elizabeth Acevedo narrating this story, but it didn't work for me as well. Of course, the whole concept and the whole story is good. I did like it, but somehow that tiny bit of spark that was missing in this, and I just felt a little disappointed in the whole. I gave Pride by Ibi Zoboi 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next up is a little novella called The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde, and it's such a humorous, funny book. Back then, all the conversations that were there, they revolved around marriage and suitable alliances and all of that. But I could leave that aside as thinking of it as a sort of product of its times. I don't usually say that, but this was okay. I really enjoyed it. I laughed my way through the book. It's a very short book, and I laughed my way through it. And this is a story of mistaken identities and about how important it is to have the name Ernest. Otherwise it's just going to be some normal name like John or Paul or something like that. I don't even remember the other names because of how many times it has been impressed upon in this book that the women who, on finding that their significant others' names were not Ernest, actually, they were ready to leave them. How much of a problem this must have posed during that time, when you know, do the whole comparison thing. But then again, it was funny. It's completely silly humor, and although I won't be going back and reading this again, or maybe I will, it just felt like a lot of fun. I gave The Importance of Being Earnest 4 out of 5 stars. Next up is They Called Us Enemy, and there's a long list of authors for this, so I'm going to refer to my notes. And the authors are George Takei of Star Wars and LGBTQ activism fame, and Justin Eisinger, Stephen Scott, and Harmony Becker. And this is George Takei's own memoir about his time in the internment camps in America during the 40s, during the World War and all. And this, like I said, this was the second book in about 2-3 days that I read after Displacement by Kiku Hughes. I had to keep shaking myself and reiterating the fact that this is a memoir, that things like this happened. I couldn't look at it as a book of fiction, because it's not. People really are like that. The American government cracking down on Japanese immigrants because Japan bombed Pearl Harbor and then incarcerating these people, interning them, putting them in internment camps and making them feel like prisoners, while all they wanted was to find a new life and to serve the country of America for themselves. They had love for America, but to see that they were not treated as people, to see the xenophobia bubbling out of them. George Takei, I don't know how it's pronounced, I'm really sorry, but George Takei, who was part of Star Trek and who has been such a huge LGBTQ activist, to listen to him talk about what's important and what you need to remember and what you need to work upon, it was rather heartbreaking and heartwarming to see the kindness of a person. Of course, I gave this book a full 5 out of 5 stars. It's amazing. I would highly recommend you go ahead and read these graphic novels. It's I didn't mention before, I think it's in the form of a graphic novel. Read Displacement as well as They Called Us Enemy. They are great. Definitely would recommend. The last book that I finished reading in October 2021, it's probably fitting that this is the last book, because it's called The Last Gift by Abdul Razak Gurnah, who won the Nobel Prize for Literature 2021 just a few weeks before I picked it up. I listened to this on Storytel and it was a great experience. I feel like the audiobook made the experience that much better. This is a story of Abbas, who one day collapses at his house in a small English town, and he has 3 consecutive strokes, and he starts reevaluating his life. He starts remembering his past, how he ran away from his home when he was younger, how he met Mariam, who is a sort of who has been a foundling sort of. She has moved from foster family to foster family all her life, and now that Abbas is at this stage, he starts telling her his secrets and how she, not because of the secrets that he's sharing, she starts to understand that she has to do something for herself also, because their children Hannah and Jamal have moved away and for their own pursuits, and now she needs to understand that she has to live for herself as well, and she starts doing certain things. Hannah, who is like a firecracker, and she is handling issues of her own. She has now moved in with her boyfriend, and things are about to get even more serious than they are. And Jamal, who is a sort of calm voice of reason in this family. What happens when Abbas is telling them all of these secrets, and will this be a sort of a last gift, a last lesson of sorts, or is it just going to be him unloading so that he can die in peace? That forms the entire story, and I can see why Abdul Razak Gurnah was awarded the Nobel Prize in literature, because he touches on a lot of topics, including but not limited to immigration, racism, and found family and family issues, toxic family, and there's so much more that he has spoken about in here that I felt things, and his writing resonated with me a lot, although I did feel like it became repetitive at times. I know that in grief sometimes we don't have a handle on ourselves, we tend to repeat ourselves, but then again it sort of became way too repetitive for me to actually end up loving this book. I liked it. It wasn't like bad. It was good, in fact, because of the number of topics that it touches upon, but it didn't go the whole full mile for me, and that's why I gave The Last Gift 3.5 out of 5 stars. I did a full reading vlog in which I listened to this audiobook, so if you'd like to go check that vlog out, I'll leave the link here as well as in the description box below. So those were all the books, audiobooks and ebooks that I read and listened to in October 2021. Which of these have you read? Which ones did you like? Which ones did you not like? Which of these books do you want to add to your TBR? Which ones do you want to add to your wish list? And which was your favorite read of October 2021, and which was your least favorite book of 2021 or October 2021? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, please like it and share it to spread the word. And if you like my content and would like to see more from me, don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the bell icon beside the subscribe button to get notified as and when I post new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, keep reading, keep watching, and add melodrama to your life.